Baldwin Beach at Maui with this incredible stack of white coral. Been here multiple times and never noticed it. Such beautiful energy, very healing. The frequency is allegedly higher than that of whales and dolphins, and I feel like it most deeply represents our bones. Our bones, and in Hawaiian mysticism, bones are all about respecting your bones, because they're going to be around long after we're gone. So I am impromptu sitting my butt down, inspired by this coral, to wonder and think out loud and talk story. We're in the middle of this Barbo's basket, this once-in-a-lifetime occurrence, and I've been waiting for whatever messages are landing or whatnot. Nothing super shocking or illuminating quite yet for me. Energetically kind of just intense in the body, super exhausted, can't function. Like watching Netflix is like, and any audios that are like even sound bowls is too much input, so that kind of sensitivity, so silence is good. So yeah, the things that I'm percolating on. So I like to just talk story and talk about it through the lens of my life, so that perhaps it triggers some thoughts in your life, resonance, comparison. Think about how your life has been influenced with these themes that I touch on and bring up, like mimicry. So I wanted to talk about, firstly, I always do this, I have been actively doing guided shamanic journeys every single day. I didn't try to time it with this astrological influence and timing. It's just how it's panning out. So I've been doing a lot of mother wound healing, father wound healing, rebirthing, inner child, and you know, these aren't themes that are new to me, but just like having someone else guide you and be guided through process is very helpful. And I'm just amazed at just how much sadness, disappointment, grief there is through lifetimes, through every field of my ancestry, through my earliest childhood memories. Like, does baby depression exist? How do you heal toddler depression? You know, like there was so much compressed trauma and grief. It's a miracle I'm fucking sitting here right now. So all the things I'm totally hip to, been aware of, have done active nervous system healing, mindset around, forgiveness around. But at the end of the day, there's still like very, very core frozen shock and grief that we're like the closest to the bones that are thawing. And it's probably grace that it's what I call time release thawing, so that you actually can handle moving through it. Otherwise it will kill you. It really will kill you, the density. I mean, to think that I'm 57 now, and that when I was born, you know, we had 2 channels on TV growing up, and the landline. But now the EMFs we're dealing with, like the upward of, not spiral, but you know, the graph of technology and AI and everything we're having to navigate, everything that's unseen, that's artificial, can really drive us into madness. So to be able to cocoon yourself and just encapsulate what is here in mine, and not just being targeted at me and bombarded at me and the collective. I mean, all, you know, this is the path of the razor's edge, to know what's yours, and then to be resourced enough to even be available for the collective and do transmutation, or even have the extra ounce of energy to make the prayers for the earth, for our humanity, for the evil bad guys, for whatever galactic unseen forces, evil, benevolent, here to help us, blah blah. But again, here I want to just come back to personal power, conditioning, programming, and how we stay sovereign and find our own personal power and stay organic and not in fear and confusion of like how we're being programmed, targeted, affected. It's making me burp. So, back to the themes coming up. I've been wondering about, in light of doing this deep work around the feminine and masculine, and I also lead helping people balance their masculine and feminine, but in this recent case yesterday, in examining how my masculine is overriding my feminine, because the feminine has been so wounded and is so voiceless and may never have a field of being heard by the masculine because of their lack of maturity. And I want to be really delicate with my wording, but it's just kind of like an equation, like a math equation, you know, like they've had to subdue their emotions, not be able to deal with the pain of their mother wounds, so they just bypass, you know, emotional bypass, spiritual bypass, whatever, because they're just like, we just need to take action and do what needs to be done in order to survive. So none of that matters. There's no room for listening to complaining. There's no room for receiving anyone's feelings and all of that. And then the feminine's stuck with all of these unexpressed emotions and feelings, and then rage for never having gotten an outlet or the respect. So we're talking about deep, deep disrespect, deep imbalance, and deep disappointment. And there was just like many moments, even yesterday, where I just felt like, you know, I don't even like the feminine. And me working for my mother wound, like, she's not safe. And sometimes the feminine to survive, and the mothers, they outdo the patriarchy because they've had to survive and like fight the patriarchy to do it better than them. So it's like those feminines become even more dangerous. So anyway, in light of really feeling the desperation of the discontent of the feminine and the kind of the collapse of like they don't see a light at the end of the tunnel for there to be a space on this earth for the feminine truly to be safe, to be loved, to be seen, to be heard, to be felt, to slow down enough, to be held, to have sensuality and pleasure, all those things, because work and survival and like, you know, keeping your space in the world protected and alive costs already a lot of masculine effort and energy. So I reflected back to my early childhood of a lot of loss, shock, trauma, abuse, but mostly like just not feeling held, protected, safe, having a voice. So I am the magical child because I fled to imagination and a lot of play and creativity. So here I am, the artist and creative, and have a lot of ideas. So in like trying to deal with my own magical child, and I just kept bumping up against more the fear and unsafety. And even though I've worked on this, it was hard to reframe a world that was like not super delusional, you know, that like, no, there could be a grounded, safe way to grow up. So I reflected on what my inputs and conditioning was, and I really, really loved totally outing myself, dating myself, talking story here. What did I love? Bewitched, I Dream of Jeannie, Gilligan's Island, Charlie's Angels. So to name like the ones that felt like, oh, I want that, oh, I love that, oh, I love Ginger from Gilligan's Island, oh, I want to live in this small small community. I have my own island. Oh, I want to be able to do magic in secret. And I would pray whenever I didn't know about prayer, but whenever I could like make a wish in a fountain or make a wish in a star on the moon, I'd always pray that I could do magic. And like Charlie's Angels, you're these beautiful women, you look really hot, and then they're just like, hear this voice over the speaker, but they're gonna crack the code. So basically, what you love and put front and center, you do end up like creating your reality that way. You know, I'm a pretty much a source, so I feel like I have to do all the magic I do in hiding and act normal and fit in. And yeah, I feel like I've been a kept person by many dynamics I've chosen to be in, and not necessarily in the most obvious ones with like a marriage and the husband controls everything, but many different things that mimic that kind of setup where I'm the genie in the bottle and then you come out and you make everything happen, because the feminine does create with her feminine power. And like, yes, master, you know, jump, how high? Let me do it for you. So that's the nature of like surviving by helping others, right? So rewind before that is all the fairy tales we grow up with. You know, the evil stepmother, the prince being saved, Sleeping Beauty, and the Cinderella, and the things that were repeated over and over. You know, the arcs of the story, a spooky man, a scary person. Like, who's writing these same stories over and over that have been imprinted in us? So, you know, what came first in these Hollywood movies, like Bewitched and Gilligan's Island? Like, are these things designed to have an impact on our brains? I mean, the TV is pretty much designed to have that impact. And this is like the double-edged sword. The double-edged sword is, you know, it seems like I'm talking all over the place. Is that like the burnout that I've been through, that I've really had to confront everything in the last year and a half with zero energy and nothing quote unquote wrong with me physically. What has been my medicine, like my only medicine? It's starting to rain now. The screens, you know, like remembering that sitting watching Sesame Street as a little girl, or Saturday morning cartoons for hours and hours where you don't have to wake your parents up, was actually my safe place. So it's like the most safe place, and what I've been addicted to is like 6 hours of Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime at night on my laptop. Like, I don't really have a TV, or I haven't had subscriptions to TVs, but the fact that I have a laptop I can watch anything on, when I'm in front of the screen, people are happy. No one bugs me. So, and I'm doing art and I'm creating on the side and I'm painting, so it doesn't really seem like I'm someone who's like sitting watching with the TV blasting. But it was kind of a wake-up call when I realized, oh my goodness, I have been raised by screens, even though my parents were hippies and all of that, feeling like, oh, I haven't really been online. But no, screens have been my nanny and safe space, my educators, my dream machines. So what do you do when you actually have been being influenced by these stories being told to us, and then turn around in your life? How's your life mirroring the shows that you really loved? Like, did you somehow become those person? Like in my dream work, when I lead groups of women online through like 4-week programs, and then we meet weekly, I feel like I'm like, hey, I'm living Charlie's Angels here. This is my best life. I'm like guiding women. I'm getting to use my voice. They hear my words, then they go out and do things. Their life changes, and then they feel really stoked and empowered because they cracked these codes after I gave them these details, you know, how to find and solve these things, and then they solve it, and then they're so empowered. So bingo, like, check. I'm living Charlie's Angels. More of that, please. You know, which Disney movies, fairy tales, Grimm's fairy tales, Anderson fairy tales, you know, and growing up in Germany, I feel like I read them in German or had them read to me. So which one influenced you? Which ones, like, where were we imprinted that this is the way life goes, that there's always these archetypes set up? So had we not had these influences, who would I have been? What would I have wanted if I didn't have these TV shows that I loved, you know? And like, when you are feeling scared and negative and you're supposed to do what you love, well, I still love watching great shows where I love the characters and I don't want them to end because they become like family and they're so, you know, really well written. Then I wonder, how can people on Earth have created these characters so swiftly, written all these scripts, series, and already produced it and we're consuming it? Like, the turnaround boggles my mind, the speed of like the brilliance of mankind to even create these. But then again, is this